Welcome to the deep dive. You ready to explore practical mindfulness and how we can all weave it into our everyday lives?
Sounds great.
We'll be taking a deep dive into a podcast episode titled Mindfulness Made Simple: Daily Practices for a Peaceful Life. So, are you ready to unlock a calmer and more focused you? Let's dive in.
Absolutely. The episode is packed with advice, and I'm excited to unpack it all with you.
Me too. So, mindfulness, it's more than just a buzzword, right?
Right. This episode actually defines it beautifully. Being present in the moment without judgment.
Okay.
It's like tuning into your life's radio station and minimizing all that static, all the stress and distractions. So instead of dwelling on the past or worrying about the future, you're fully engaged in the now.
I love that radio analogy, but let's be real. For someone, let's say, constantly juggling deadlines in a demanding career, how does mindfulness actually translate into benefits?
That's where it gets really interesting. Mindfulness isn't just about finding inner peace, it's a secret weapon for boosting productivity.
Oh.
Think about it. When you're mindful, you're less likely to get sidetracked by worries or intrusive thoughts. You can focus more sharply on the task at hand, make better decisions, and ultimately get more done in less time.
Makes sense. So it's not just about feeling calmer. It's harnessing that calmness to actually achieve more. Now, the episode outlines 3 simple mindfulness practices anyone can incorporate into their day. What's the first one?
The first one is mindful breathing. It's as fundamental as it sounds. Find a comfortable position, close your eyes if you like, and take a slow, deep breath in through your nose. Hold it for a moment, noticing the sensation of your chest expanding, and then exhale slowly through your mouth. And repeat this for a minute or two, focusing solely on your breath.
You know, I've tried mindful breathing before, and I have to admit I was pretty skeptical at first.
Yeah.
It seemed almost too simple to be effective, but I was amazed at how quickly it helped me calm down and refocus when I felt overwhelmed.
It's truly remarkable that how such a simple act can have such a profound impact on our mental and physical state. It's like hitting the reset button for your nervous system.
Absolutely. Okay, what's the next practice?
Next up is mindful eating. This one might sound a bit unusual, but it's about transforming mealtime from a mindless rush into a sensory experience.
Yeah.
Before you take a bite, pause and really observe your food. Notice the colors, the textures, the aromas, then take a small bite and chew slowly, savor each flavor. Putting your fork down between bites can help you stay present in the experience.
You know, I'm someone who tends to inhale my lunch at my desk,
Yeah.
barely even tasting it. But when I've tried mindful eating, I'm always struck by how much more I enjoy the food. It's like suddenly all the flavors come alive.
Exactly. It's about slowing down and truly appreciating the nourishment we're receiving. It can even help with digestion and prevent overeating.
I can definitely see that. All right, what's the third practice?
The third practice is gratitude journaling. Before you go to bed each night, take a few minutes to jot down 3 things you're grateful for. They don't have to be monumental things. It could be as simple as a sunny day, a good cup of coffee, or a kind gesture from a stranger.
I love that. It's like training your brain to focus on the positive aspects of your life, no matter how small they may seem. What I find fascinating is that by writing these things down, we're not just passively acknowledging them, we're actively reinforcing those positive neural pathways in our brains.
That's a great point. It's like building mental muscle memory for gratitude, which can have a ripple effect on our overall well-being.
So we've got these 3 powerful practices: mindful breathing, mindful eating, and gratitude journaling. They seem pretty straightforward, but I know some listeners might be wondering where they're going to find the time to squeeze them into their already jam-packed schedules. What does the episode have to say about that?
It addresses that concern head on, and I think it offers a really empowering perspective. The key takeaway is that mindfulness isn't about adding time to your day, it's about transforming the time you already have.
Ooh, I like that. So instead of dreading that morning commute, we can use it as an opportunity to practice mindful breathing.
Exactly. Or instead of mindlessly scrolling through social media while you wait for an appointment, you can take a few moments to focus on your breath or practice gratitude.
That's brilliant. It's about reframing those little pockets of wasted time as opportunities to reconnect with ourselves. I'm starting to see how this can be woven into even the busiest of schedules.
And what's truly remarkable is that the more we practice mindfulness in these small moments, the more it starts to spill over into other areas of our lives.
So it's like a ripple effect. The more we cultivate mindfulness, the more naturally it becomes a part of who we are and how we approach the world.
Precisely.
Okay, I'm hooked. Are we ready to dive into part 2?
Absolutely. Let's continue our deep dive. It's fascinating how the episode emphasizes that mindfulness isn't about becoming some kind of emotionless Zen master.
Right. It's not about, like, erasing our feelings or pretending stress doesn't exist.
Yeah,
It's more about learning to navigate those feelings in a healthier way.
exactly. It's about shifting our relationship with our thoughts and emotions. So instead of getting swept away by them, we learn to observe them without judgment, to acknowledge them without letting them control us.
So instead of being like a tiny boat tossed around in a stormy sea, we become more like a sturdy ship that can weather the waves.
Yeah, it is. The episode uses the analogy of a radio station again here, which I find quite helpful.
Yeah.
Imagine your thoughts and emotions are like different radio frequencies.
Okay.
Mindfulness is about developing the ability to tune into the frequency you want to listen to rather than just being bombarded by all the static and the unwanted noise.
Okay, that clicks. But how do we actually do that? How do we get better at choosing which station we tune into? Especially when life feels like it's throwing a lot of static our way.
That's where practice comes in. The more we engage in those mindful practices we talked about, breathing, eating, gratitude, the stronger that tuning muscle becomes. It's like building any skill. The more you do it, the better you get at it.
So it's not about reaching some kind of perfect state of mindfulness,
Right.
but rather about continually strengthening that mindful muscle. I like that.
And the beauty is these practices are so adaptable. We can weave them into our existing routine. We don't need to carve out like huge chunks of time. The episode really stresses that. It even gives examples of turning everyday tasks into mini mindfulness breaks.
Oh, like turning your commute into a mindful breathing exercise.
Yeah.
Or using dishwashing as an opportunity to, like, really feel the sensations of the warm water and the soapy dishes.
Precisely. And I think that's key to making mindfulness feel less intimidating. It's not about adding more to our already full plates. It's about finding those moments of presence within the activities we're already doing.
You know what? That's a huge relief.
Yeah.
Because I think one of the biggest misconceptions about mindfulness is that it requires a ton of extra time and effort.
Yeah.
But what we're really talking about is a shift in perspective, right?
Yeah.
It's about bringing more awareness to the present moment, no matter what we're doing.
You've hit the nail on the head. And what's fascinating is that by bringing mindfulness to those like mundane tasks, we can actually start to enjoy them more. Things like showering, folding laundry, even waiting in line
Mhm.
can become opportunities to connect with the present moment and find a sense of calm amidst the chaos.
Wait, hold on. Are you suggesting that I could actually find a sense of peace while folding laundry? Because that sounds like a superpower I desperately need.
I know, right? It sounds counterintuitive, but it's true. The more we practice, the more natural it becomes. The episode emphasizes that consistency is key, just like with any skill we're trying to develop.
So it's not about being perfect at mindfulness. It's about showing up and making the effort, even if it's just for a few minutes each day. And the episode reassures us that even those small efforts can have a ripple effect on our overall well-being.
Absolutely. We don't need to wait for the perfect time to start practicing mindfulness. We can start right now, wherever we are, with whatever we're doing.
I love that message. So empowering. Now, as we move toward the final part of our deep dive, what are some of the key takeaways from this episode that we really want to make sure our listener absorbs? What are the nuggets of wisdom that they can carry with them on their mindfulness journey?
One of the things that really stands out to me is the idea that mindfulness is a skill that can be cultivated through practice. It's not something you're either born with or without. It's like learning to play an instrument or speak a new language. It takes time, effort, and patience, but the rewards are so worth it.
That's such an important point. It's easy to get discouraged when we first start practicing mindfulness, and we realize that our minds are like wild monkeys swinging from thought to thought.
Yeah.
But the episode reminds us that it's a process, a journey. And the more we practice, the better we get at gently guiding our attention back to the present moment.
Exactly. And the episode equips us with some really practical tools and techniques. We've got mindful breathing, mindful eating, gratitude journaling. These are all things our listener can start experimenting with today.
And remember, it's not about adding more to your plate.
Right.
It's about transforming the time you already have. Those little pockets of time that we often waste waiting in line, commuting, even brushing our teeth, can become mini mindfulness breaks.
Absolutely. And I think the most important message of all is that mindfulness is about cultivating a deeper connection with ourselves and the present moment. It's about finding peace and clarity amidst the chaos of daily life.
So well said. One thing that struck me about the episode is how approachable it makes mindfulness seem. It's not about chanting mantras or sitting in lotus position for hours. It's about simple, everyday practices that anyone can do.
You're absolutely right. And I think that's key to making mindfulness stick. It has to be something that feels doable, something that fits into our real lives.
Okay, we've covered a lot of ground here. We've talked about what mindfulness is, why it's beneficial, and we've even explored some practical techniques that our listener can start implementing right away. What else can we extract from this source to help our listener truly make mindfulness a part of their life?
One thing the episode touches on, which I think is worth highlighting, is the idea of being kind to ourselves throughout this process.
Ah, yes. Self-compassion. That's so important, isn't it?
It really is, because there will be times when we fall off track, when we
Mm.
forget to practice, when we get caught up in the whirlwind of our thoughts and emotions. And that's okay.
It's about progress, not perfection.
Right. Exactly. The key is to simply acknowledge those moments without judgment, to gently guide our attention back to the present moment.
Like a kind and patient friend reminding us to come back to ourselves.
Precisely. And the more we practice self-compassion, the easier it becomes to navigate the ups and downs of our mindfulness journey.
I think that's such a powerful message for our listener. It's not about beating yourself up when you inevitably slip up. It's about treating yourself with the same kindness and understanding that you would offer to a dear friend.
Absolutely. And I think that's a beautiful note to transition to our final segment.
Agreed. So are you ready to wrap things up and leave our listener with a final provocative thought to ponder?
I am. Let's do it.
All right, welcome back to the deep dive. We've been exploring mindfulness, why it's so beneficial, and even uncovered practical techniques anyone can use.
It's been great.
Now for the final part of our deep dive. What final thought-provoking insight do you have for our listeners today?
Well, the source material kind of sets the stage for this question. What if instead of letting those everyday moments just slip by unnoticed, we transform them into mini mindfulness breaks? Imagine bringing that mindful awareness to activities like your morning commute, showering, or even brushing your teeth.
Ooh, I like that. Instead of rushing through my routine, I'm really savoring the feeling of the warm water, the taste of my toothpaste. It's like hitting pause on autopilot.
Exactly. It's a subtle shift, but it can have a profound impact. Instead of mindlessly going through the motions, you're actively choosing to be present in each moment.
And wouldn't that change how we experience, like, the entire day?
Mhm.
Instead of just getting through it, we're actively engaged.
That's the heart of it. It's about finding those moments of peace amidst the busyness and realizing they're available to us anytime, anywhere.
You've given me so much to think about today. As we wrap up, I want to remind our listeners, peace isn't something we have to chase. It's available right here, right now, if we just choose to tune in.
And remember, it's okay to start small. Even just bringing mindful awareness to a few breaths throughout the day can make a difference.
It's been incredible exploring mindfulness with you. Thank you for sharing your insights.
My pleasure.
And to our listeners, we encourage you to experiment. Find those little pockets of time, turn them into moments of peace, and discover just how powerful mindfulness can be. Until next time, keep diving.